Lawmakers are scheduled to return to Springfield to debate a clean energy deal tomorrow.
Governor Pritzker is calling for the General Assembly to end coal in Illinois by 2035. But that would mean taking a new coal plant offline before we finish paying off the cost to build it. Our Capitol Bureau Chief Mark Maxwell is live in Springfield after getting exclusive access inside the Prairie State coal plant. Mark, dozens of cities and towns across Illinois pitched in to pay for that plant.
The Prairie State coal plant is massive. It powers 2.5 million homes across Illinois. It employs 650 workers there and 1,000 union contractors on the job. Pardon that loud noise there. But all that coal they burn adds up to contribute to the most pollution of any coal-fired plant in the whole state.
Here, the big switchyard, that's a 345,000 volt switchyard.
John Sanders says the nonprofit Prairie State coal plant spent $1 billion to capture toxic chemicals before they reach the atmosphere.
Back in the day, people would burn coal to heat their homes. I mean, it's a nasty, thick, bluish type smoke, and we don't want that in the atmosphere. And as you can see, we're very white. We're mostly water vapor and CO2.
This plant's only been operational since 2012, so in the life of a power plant, this is a very new facility.
The relatively new plant was permitted during the Obama-Biden administration.
So we have a whole lot of emission control, so a lot of our stuff, we're not like the 50-year-old coal plants.
It's the cleanest coal-fired power plant in the country.
Engineers monitor the heavy-duty machinery and the emissions from inside this control room.
Constantly, 24/7, we're monitoring what's leaving that stack, what's going in, what's going out, and we stay in compliance. I don't see any issue going forward either.
The Prairie State mine just across the street sends 20,000 tons of coal into this plant every day. It comes in on these belts before they pulverize it and then boil it, turning it into that steam energy.
I have no issue with going green. I think it's actually a good idea if we can get there feasibly.
Several workers here say they support a transition to green energy.
But I think what happens is a lot of people hear green and they just automatically think you can snap your fingers, it's going to happen.
But these workers are skeptical that wind and solar energy can catch up fast enough to replace all the power generated by this plant, funded and co-owned by cities and towns across Illinois.
Before the plant was even built, they invested in their ownership share of the facility, knowing that they would need a long-term source of baseload power.
If the state shuts this plant down in 2035, many of those cities would still be paying down that debt and shopping for a new energy source at the same time.
You and I probably have a mortgage on our house. Well, we'd really like to live in our house after the mortgage is paid off, and we'd really like to not be evicted from our homes before the mortgage is paid off and also have to pay rent at the same time.
Prairie State is pushing lawmakers to give them a carve-out, a lifeline to stay open beyond 2035. At the same time, they're exploring technology that might allow them to capture up to 95% of that CO2 or the greenhouse gases they emit. They're asking lawmakers for that time to get that done, but many progressive lawmakers have drawn that as their red line, saying when it comes to fighting climate change, that's the one thing we don't have: more time. Reporting in Springfield, Mark Maxwell.
All right, Mark, thank you so much. Now, the House and Senate could consider a number of other outstanding items this week, including a new electronic FOID card with voluntary fingerprinting, an elected school board for the city of Chicago, and a new gaming bill that could allow betting on in-state college sports.